Hello, everyone. Welcome to the course Principles and Applications of Mechatronic Systems. I'm your instructor, Xiong Jiwen. Today, we will begin Chapter 3, focusing on signal preprocessing technology. Signal preprocessing is critically important for accurately acquiring and processing sensor signals. It is a key part of enabling precise control in mechatronic systems. Let's begin with sensor signal acquisition. Sensor output signals have several characteristics. 1. Most are analog signals. 2. The signals are generally very weak. Voltage signals typically range from microvolt to millivolt, and current signals range from nanoampere to milliampere. 3. Due to internal sensor noise, such as thermal noise and shot noise, the signal is mixed with noise. When the signal-to-noise ratio is low, useful signals can easily be overwhelmed. 4. Sensor output signals have a wide dynamic range, and while they vary with the measured physical quantity, the relationship is not always linear. For example, the resistance of a thermistor changes exponentially with temperature. Signal magnitude may also be influenced by temperature due to the presence of temperature coefficients. 5. Sensor output can be affected by external environmental factors, such as temperature and electric fields. 6. Sensors generally have high output impedance, which can cause significant signal attenuation when connected to a measurement circuit. To address these characteristics, specific signal conditioning circuits are needed to process sensor outputs. Common detection circuits include impedance matching circuits, bridge circuits, and amplifier circuits. In most cases, the sensor output impedance is high. To minimize signal attenuation, a high input impedance, low output impedance impedance matcher is typically used as a front-end circuit before feeding into the measurement system. Common types include bipolar transistor-based impedance matchers, field effect transistor, FET, impedance matchers, and operational amplifier-based impedance matchers. Bridge circuits are widely used in sensor detection systems. They convert small variations in sensor outputs into measurable voltage or current signals. Depending on the power source, bridge circuits can be classified into DC bridges and AC bridges. Since sensor outputs are often weak, amplifier circuits are required to increase signal strength, providing a standard signal for the subsequent detection stages, commonly 0 to 5 volts voltage or 4 to 20 milliamperes current signals. Modern amplifier circuits in sensor systems are usually built using operational amplifiers. Next, let's examine the issue of output signal interference. There are many types of external electromagnetic interference that can affect sensor outputs. Electrostatic induction interference occurs when there is parasitic capacitance between two circuit paths or components. Charges from one branch can transfer through this capacitance to another branch. This is also known as capacitive coupling. Electromagnetic induction interference arises when mutual inductance exists between circuits. A change in current in one circuit can induce a voltage in another circuit through magnetic coupling. This phenomenon is commonly encountered in sensor applications and deserves special attention. Leakage current interference is caused by poor insulation between internal components, such as supports, terminals, printed circuit boards, capacitor dielectrics, or housings, especially when humidity in the sensor's environment increases, reducing insulation resistance. This increases leakage current, which can severely affect measurement accuracy, especially if it flows into the input stage of a measurement circuit. Radio frequency, RF, interference is typically caused by the startup and shutdown of large power equipment, or by high-frequency harmonics. Other types of interference may stem from poor working environments, including mechanical, thermal, or chemical disruptions. From the above, we can summarize that sensor interference primarily originates from two sources: circuit-induced interference, and induced interference from peripheral equipment and communication lines. To counter these effects, several anti-interference techniques are commonly used. Shielding, using shielding enclosures to block unwanted signals from entering the circuit. Grounding, connecting part of the circuit to earth ground to provide a low impedance path for interference currents. Isolation, separating the interference source from the vulnerable circuit. Filtering, using filters to eliminate unwanted signals of specific frequencies. To summarize, today we studied two main topics: sensor signal acquisition and output signal interference suppression. When acquiring signals, we must understand their characteristics and select the appropriate detection circuits. For interference suppression, we must identify types and sources of interference and apply corresponding countermeasures. I hope you will reflect on how these concepts apply to real-life and industrial scenarios, and deepen your understanding of signal preprocessing technology. That concludes this lesson. Thank you for listening. See you next time.